broad hope for your community? If you were to imagine Muslim community in a year's time, 5 years time, what would you like it to look like?
That they're more active in the community. Like we don't stand out right now, right? So it'd be kind of cool if our events are more, global in nature, not just within the Islamic community kind of thing. If we're more involved in the culture around us, like the Canadian culture and everything.
All right, that's good. Is there anything else?
Maybe stronger connection within the community.
Also maybe better like planning of events and learning from our mistakes that we do, or learning or developing our events in better ways.
What else?
Marketing.
Marketing.
Yeah, marketing would be better.
What else?
This is more specific than some of the other two times, but having khutbahs that are relevant to the community would be one thing.
Relevant events?
Oh yeah, definitely.
What else?
Just knowing like if we get like speakers or something, just knowing good not sources, but good speakers, to get good speakers that are relevant to our issue today. So I guess the subject and the topic should be, and the speaker should.
So, I divide this into two categories. This is like the world as it is. And this is kind of the world as we want it to be. Right? Now, in between these two areas is the world as it could be. The change that we can actually move on and make changes about. So I'm going to give you an example of something that might fall in that area. In the world as it is, we might see poverty as a big issue, right? But tackling and eliminating poverty, right, as in the world as we want it to be, probably isn't going to happen, right? Or we might talk about the Swiss minarets. That might be somewhere in the world as we want it to be, but it's not really in the realm of stuff we can do, right? And so, what are some of the things that we can actually do that fit in here that would actually, get us to that place? Okay? So, for example, going back to that poverty issue, we might say that we're really concerned about poverty, but we might say, well, one of the things we want to do about it is we want the IFSA's and the ECMC's Boyle Street Co-op to be a more regular event. We don't want it to be a once a year event. That might be one way we, address poverty, right, in the broader community. Right? But what are some other ideas that come to mind here, right? One of the things I think was interesting when we all talked about community, when we all talked about our concerns, is the same issues kept on coming up, right? So while we're all in our own little silos, we're all echoing the same things, right? When we're talking about our hopes, again, it's the same thing, right? So, we're talking about the silos, and we're talking about the cliques, and we're all talking about it separately, right? So how do we actually, break down some of those silos? What are some of the thoughts? I think what Brother Momin's done here is incredible, right? It's a great, consistent event that really gets people talking, gets people engaged. But, how do we build on top of that? Right? What are some people's thoughts, right? One of the other things that should have hopefully come out of the discussions is when you were hearing about people's struggles and you were getting to know them, you were also getting to understand their self-interest. And it's really important to understand each of our own interest in things. Now, oftentimes when we talk about self-interest, we talk about it in a pejorative. Like, oh, they're only out in it for them, right? But, you know, when we're talking about community issues, that's actually important to know someone's self-interest. So if you know Sister X is, you know, she has an uncle with terminal illness, you might understand that, you know, she has a self-interest in palliative care for the community that's Muslim sensitive, right? And she might be a great person to involve in that, right? But if we keep on acting within our silos, if we don't break down and actually go into those one-to-one discussions where we're figuring out, you know, this sister has, you know, a lot of problems with the health of her family members, right? How might that play into how she can integrate and work better with the community, right? How the community can help her and how she can help the community. So these stories, these discussions that we started, not finished, but started, play into how we engage ourselves in the community and how we shape this world as it is. So when we're talking about the cliques, we're talking about events we want, we're talking about vibrancy, broader integration, we're talking about unity. These are big, broad concepts. How do we narrow it down, focus it on maybe something we want to achieve this year, or maybe even within the next 6 months?
Maybe like a big lunch after the fighting period.
Okay.
Everyone's confused and we just leave, right? So maybe that would make.
I am all for food after dinner.
No, actually, I learned that food connects people and
Mhm.
it makes sense. So, yeah.
Almost definitely, right? It gets people to stay. What else?
Oh, I was going to say just list set of objectives, mission statement, goals, stuff like that.
Okay. What else? Anything else? What are some things that you think are, you know, you'd like to see in the next 6 months?
Maybe like in the summertime